Bob Anderson back again. In our last video we talked about getting the approvals, we talked about getting the building approval, the construction certificate, and the possibility then of tendering for the construction. In other words, finding a builder, that's what we've got to do. There's a couple of ways of tendering. You can do what you call an open tender, where you just go to the market, look for any builder, say, look, who's interested in quoting on this job? That's an open tender. Tend not to do those. A select tender, well, that's where you choose a couple of builders. You might choose 2 or 3 or 4 builders, select them in other words, and each one of those builders will quote on the job. That's called a select tender. In this particular case study that we're looking at, the 4 townhouse project I talked about, I just chose 2 builders. One of them was a builder who'd done quite a few projects with me. He probably built about 5 townhouse projects in the previous 3 or 4 years. I went to him, and also I went to another builder that I hadn't long met. It's actually a student. Somebody did my property development course who was a builder. I was always pretty interested when I found out he was a builder. I had a bit of a talk to him and said, look, could you be interested in this particular townhouse project? So I went to 2 builders, if you like, tendering. Now, the first builder, the guy I'd done 5 projects with, he came in a little bit high, and that can be the case. I find with builders, just because a builder is the cheapest on one particular project doesn't mean you're going to be the best on the next one. Not that price is everything, quality of work and finish and how long it's going to take to build, that all comes into it. But in this particular process, I ended up going with the student builder, we'll call him, and well recommended. I did just because he's a student, didn't get him the job, I had to do my own due diligence, and I'll show you how to do due diligence on builders in a moment. But everything came up fine, the price was right, and beautiful, and the job's gone brilliantly. Now, how do you find builders? Well, all sorts of ways. You know, you can't beat referral. I reckon the best way to meet any consultant, architect, town planner, or a builder is to be referred by somebody else that you trust. In other words, if you know somebody, another developer or somebody else, perhaps even an architect, one of the consultants, who've used this particular builder on a few different occasions, the builder's coming up trumps, that's a good referral. And often it happens that way. You might not be aware, but there's such a thing as a building broker. You've heard about finance brokers, they'll find you the right finance package. There's actually building brokers who work with a range of builders who will help you find the right builder. They'll know all sorts of builders in different places. They know certain builders, for instance, might only build, say, 15 townhouses or bigger. Other builders might build up to a maximum of 6. Some builders will only build in certain areas. Some builders might build townhouses but not build apartments. So all types of builders. A good building broker will know a range of builders, builders that he's worked with, builders that are trustworthy, builders that he knows he can refer to with confidence. There's a fee to pay. It's about 2% of the contract price. But that actually goes on to the building contract. So you don't directly pay that 2% to the building broker. It comes out during the stage payments to the builder. But it is in there. And so as a result, the builder knows that he has to come up with a pretty tight price, knowing that that's in there as well. But yeah, look, a number of my students have used building brokers. I've used them on the odd occasion myself with great success. But when you've got a builder, is it the right builder? Well, I hope so. So what can you do as a bit of a check? Well, we do a bit of due diligence on a builder, particularly a new one. We can do a credit check. There's various platforms where you can go. It costs about $60 from memory, where you can check the credit rating of a builder. You can see if there's any bad debts out there, if any unpaid bills, people have got notices on them. You can do that. You need to check the builder's licence for the right sort of building, and pretty much in every state there's a particular quongo, sort of semi-government department, if you like, that administers building and building licences and that sort of thing. In most cases you can go onto their website, in fact, and see if the builder is licensed for that particular type of work. References are good. Ask the builder for some current and recent references. I'd like 3 or 4. I'd like 1 or 2 references from people that he's building for right now, and maybe a couple of references for people where he's finished the job in the last 12, 18 months, written references. Also, I want to know some of his subcontractors. I want to know, give me 3 subcontractors: electrician, plumber, plasterer, painter, bricklayer, concrete, I don't care. Give me 3 of those, and I'll have a talk to those guys. And I'll start to say, look, how long have you known the builder? How much work do you do with the builder? Is the builder pay on time? You ever been late? Those sorts of things. Also, suppliers. I want to know who his suppliers are. Who's your timber supplier? Who's your concrete supplier? Who's building material suppliers? Who are they? And I want to talk to them. They get phone calls like this all the time. I want to know what sort of accounts he's got, how large his trade account is, if he's ever gone over, has he ever been late to pay. Now, there's only so much that you can do checking out a builder, but it's important to do at least those basic checks that I've given you. But of course, if it's a good reference from somebody you trust, then those things should come up trumps anyway, but you should still do them. Now, in terms of the builder, as I said, sometimes I might get a builder involved in that building approval construction certificate stage as well. And sometimes I might even get a builder and say, well, look, you can get involved now. You've got first right of refusal at the end when we go to tender. I might still say to the builder, look, I'm going to get 3 prices, but because you've worked with me on the way through, I'll give you first right of refusal on the best price or whatever it happens to be, but no absolute guarantee that you'll get the job at the end. So what you need to know, of course, as I said, you need to know the market so that you're getting the right sort of design, the right sort of standard of finish approved for your tender. So what you'll need for your tender, you need a copy of your development approval, because there'll be certain conditions in there that the builder needs to know about. You need a copy of all the plans that the certifier pulls together at the end. So, architects' plans, the different engineers' plans, all those plans. You need a full set of those for the builder to price. And you'll need your specification, your standards of finish. The builder needs all those things to give you a price, what we call a lump sum price, in order to do it. So that's how builders work. That's how you can find good builders. That's how you can check out good builders. And it's a pretty important thing to have. Look, I hope you're enjoying this. I'll look forward to catching up with you again shortly, and we'll move forward in this particular project. Look forward to it. Bye now.